Good evening, friends. Thank you for joining Candid Bina every evening to follow what's happening in India and abroad. Thank you for sending me your useful comments and suggestions. If you believe in this channel, do hit the like button, share with friends, and spread the message. Our only mission is to bring you the truth and both sides of the story. Thank you for your support. Today, MR joins us after a very long gap. Welcome, MR.
Namaste. Namaste to Candid Meena and viewers of CM.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this week. So let's just take the latest topics, MR. Where you see the center has banned the PFI. No, so what do you think is going to happen next? They've done this for 5 years, and a UAPA tribunal will decide whether to confirm the ban or cancel it based on arguments from both the center and the PFI.
Yeah.
Now, the center will now send notifications to the Unlawful Activities Prevention Tribunal, headed by the sitting Delhi High Court, to judge within 30 days.
Yeah.
Now, Union Home Secretary Gopal Krishna Pillai told India Today that members of the organization will be arrested and its offices will be completely shut down. The bank accounts of PFI and its associated fund will also be frozen immediately. So, what do you think is in store, MR? And how did this all crop up? Is it all backed by Kerala?
No, it is also backed by Kerala. See, what I understand is it's a long haul that has happened. The SIMI, when it was banned in 2004 or 5, 3 or 4, if I remember well, actually genetically modified itself into this PFI. And also SDPI. SDPI needs to be banned, let us be very clear, but that is for the election commission to do into it. But that's also an unlawful assembly. I don't know why UAPA cannot be applicable to a political party. I think it must be made applicable to a political party. Just because you're a political party doesn't mean you can go with any nonsense. Coming back to this issue, this SIMI was supported, and you must know the lawyer of SIMI was Salman Khurshid, the Congress minister. So you can see the type of clout SIMI had within the Congress party and the Congress party's influence on SIMI. The SIMI, once it was banned, again became this new avatar of PFI and SDPI, and PFI, let us consider PFI. The problem with UAPA and UPA and UPA sound similar, so you should be very careful with this. So both are unlawful in a way. And in 2001, there was a terrorist attack in American soil. Then the UN came together in the month of September 28th, when a lot of laws were pressed to be passed. One of these were this Unlawful Terrorist Act, and they wanted these things to be done. Unlawful Assembly and Terrorist Act. Though this law is of 1967 vintage, it acquires teeth somewhere in 2001. But at that time, we had this POTA, Prevention of Terrorist Act, which was a very potent act. But the then opposition was actually crying wolf over POTA. So they repealed POTA once they came to power in 2004 under Manmohan Singh. And they brought in this UAPA armed with more teeth. So as SIMI underwent a genetic modification and became SDPI and PFI, the UAPA was the genetically modified version of POTA. So there was something that was brewing, and several actions did happen. But this Popular Front of India and the remnants of SIMI were taking much of this terrorist activities in 2008, 2009, 2010. In fact, you will remember once in 3 months we used to have a bomb blast, and we used to have Shivraj Patil going around, strutting around here and there, and Sonia Gandhi being worried about how things are anti-minorities in this country, and how Manmohan Singh used to say that the resources of this country must be first placed in the hands of the minorities. So this was going on. Now 2014 came, and the regime did change, and the new regime did take over. But you can say that MRV is a terrorist, you should arrest him and you should put him behind bars, you should levy this, charge him under UAPA section 15, so on and so forth. You can say all those things. But in a court of law, it requires enormous amount of evidence. and you have to prove it beyond doubts in these type of cases, and you have to have a watertight case. So for 3-4 years, I am told, under the leadership of Amit Bhai, IB, RAW, ED, several police officers in several states, including Kerala, all these people were working and gathering information. And the chief work was done by IB. So IB doesn't have a spokesperson, IB doesn't advertise, IB doesn't tell what it is. But it is primarily the work of IB, Intelligence Bureau, that they led NIA and told them, look, in this house you will get this terrorist. And not only that, they followed each one of them in various places. Some of them were even traveling by train, and they were able to identify the berth in which a particular PFI member was traveling, and they were able to arrest them. It was a brilliant operation, unprecedented. And I must say, I think India's intelligence agencies have come of age. If this had happened in America, if this has happened in any advanced countries, people would have, welcomed these people, editorials being written, 9 p.m. people have shouted and said, look, this is what it is, this is what it is. But in our country, we have to defend in prime time that, look, this is an act by our own intelligence agencies collecting irrefutable proof. And there were people openly supporting and said PFI is basically victimized. You should also take an action on RSS, Bajrang Dal, so on and so forth. There was a false equivalence that was trying to be created. How stupid can we ever become as a nation? Here is an act on terrorists. Here was an act that was directly directed at terrorists. And the next victim of such terrorist act of PFI could be you, me, anybody. So I think we owe our peaceful 8 hours of sleep or 7 hours of sleep to those brilliant officers of the IB, to the brilliant officers of NIA, Home Ministry, to Amit Shah, to Ajit Doval, all those people who acted in tandem. I think we as a nation, the grateful nation, must at least salute them. And on this Navratri evening of a Friday, let us all pray that they, their family, who have all done so much of good work, are blessed by Ma Durga. And I think that this is something that I will be proud of the action by our intelligence agency. So this is what is all that happened. And they have collected, I'm told, not only documentary proof, they have got proof about funding, who has funded them, where from the funding has come. And the law under UAPA allows you telephonic interceptions. And telephonic interceptions are admissible evidences in UAPA cases. And they have done it. They have got some huge evidences for conversation across the border. And my view, personally, is for 8 years, Modi allowed them to have a false sense of security. He thought they were lulled into a false sense of complicity or an ease position. PFI, in fact, some of my co-panelists have threatened and said PFI pe haath lagaoge to Bharat jalega, India jalega, all sorts of nonsense. So it must be a kudos to the state police also. And understand, state police is a very porous one. They are, you can have a close-knit people working in secrecy, but state police and Maharashtra police or Tamil Nadu police is a very dodgy animal. It's very porous. It's got connections with various organizations. Some of them are highly compromised individuals, like Parambir Singh, for instance, we all know. And there will be several Parambirs in Tamil Nadu police, Kerala police. But overcoming all odds, I think we delivered. That shows our men in uniform, which includes probably women. Some of them must be women also. They have done an extraordinary work. Salutes to them. Kudos to them. Let us celebrate this. This is a moment of our success.
Yeah. In fact, Amar, yesterday I was just reading out to the viewers that there was a conversation going on, between two people from the PFI, and it was in Malayalam, and it went viral. So they were talking about these spies within them. So they were saying that how can NIA officers pose as Bengali laborers and work as butchers? They've been slaughtering chickens, goats, and even cattle. Do you mean to say that all these guys working in our establishments, like meat shops, plywood factories, and restaurants, and households as cooks were from NIA? No wonder this Doval guy is called a super cop. This fellow had even worked in Pakistan without being caught. So you can imagine its capacity. When we heard the call Bolo Takbir, we tried to send messages through WhatsApp, but the phones were all jammed. These laborers disappeared on the evening of the raid, and the whole place is without workers. Just imagine these NIA officers sleeping with Bengali workers in their camps for the last 8 months. So this is what they were saying. Suddenly these people disappear.
Yeah, so it was a meticulously planned operation, and I think rarely has India seen such a extraordinary operation. And there were people, civilian were also involved. I'm told some of the civilians were also involved in some good measure. I think this is amazing. This is amazing.
So what was the motive actually, MR? We've spoken about how they formed, what was the modus operandi and all that. What was the intention?
Uh, uh, since it is Candid Meena show, let us be candid. Islam is a political religion. It is less of a religion, more of a political doctrine. And Islam makes imperial demands of its followers. And one of the demands of its followers is the land that you live must be converted into an Islamic territory, and Islamic conversion, expansion by good means, foul means, bad means is immaterial. But expand you must. This is an interpretation of Islam, and you can use any formulation for that, including terrorist activities, which goes under a venerable name called jihad. So these are some of the tenets of Islam, basic tenets. Now, there will be some people who will put their hands up. No, oh, my dear Mr. Venkatesh, you are totally wrong. Your interpretation of Islam is wrong. I plead guilty on that count. But I say that there are good number of people who are Islamic scholars who arrive from Tablighi school, which is in Afghanistan, or the Deobandi school, which is very close to Delhi and Lucknow, with the Deobandi. And they interpret, their interpretation of Islam is the most authentic one of Islam. Now, my interpretation, or WhatsApp's interpretation, or say interpretation through the Wikipedia may be a wrong one. I concede that. But these are genuine people, and these are the genuine scholars of Islam. And in the name of Islam, in the name of Allah, the Prophet, or the Prophet, the Islamic terrorists. That is why you have the word Islamic terrorists. Terrorists are born driven by a fanatical idea about what Islam should be. Now, this is what drives PFI. Now, PFI is not born out of reading our constitution, or people who are feeling victimized. They are not people who say that, look, there is something lacking in this constitution or lacking in their arrangement, social arrangement. They don't feel that they are oppressed, depressed, nothing. They have a very positive view. It's exactly opposite of what you will argue. They say that we are terrorists. We are not terrorists. We are doing something as commanded by our Islam. And we have got the verses here which directs us to do what we are doing. Now, you may say that they are terrorists, you may say that they are fanatics, you may say that their interpretation is wrong, but the source of their interpretation comes from Islam. You can't deny that. Now, that is what makes Islam a very dangerous religion, because it has a dual face. It's Jonas face. On one hand, you say it's an Islam is a religion of peace, and other hand, you have people who blow themselves to pieces and say that, I don't know whether PEACE or PEICE. So whether people blow themselves to pieces. So Islam is a religion of pieces, or whether it is of peace. So this conundrum is not yet settled. And PFI draws its inspiration from the ugly face of Islam and says that, look, we want to convert this into a Ghazwa-e-Hind, which is a completely Islamic territory by 2047, and we will do it by means, foul, fair, whatever it is. And the best part is People who have seen those documents, people who have seen those incriminating materials which were collected during the raids, people who have been forwarding these messages, people who have been talking about this ideology, are now openly saying so. At the Communist Party, the Congress Party, and some of the regional parties, the so-called secular parties, are saying, look, if you arrest PFI, if you ban PFI, secularism is in danger. Now, none of the PFI guys are saying, that we are secularists. They say we want to demolish secularism in India.
Yeah.
And yet the secularists say that we will have to oppose the ban on PFI because it is actually targeting secularism. So this is a very funny thing. People are walking into their own suicide. And this is what we are actually, no other country faces this type of stupidity. This gross stupidity in this, per capita stupidity in this country must be the highest in the world. If you take any other, thanks to secularism, that we somehow are there. Now, there are good Muslims, and the Muslims feel, see, this is what I have also Muslim friends, I have Muslim clients, and they say that the PFI ban is the best thing that has happened to the Muslim community.
Many
They say that our people are getting indoctrinated, our own children. We see a Muslim mother must be worried that her teenager son returns late and he is talking something aggressive. At that age, the hormone will be there. At that age, that the lack of anything called fear at 18, 20, 22. She must be worried whether this boy will come home tomorrow in one piece or whether he will be blowing himself into several pieces. That the mother will be the happiest. Look at the household, an average Muslim household. No mother would like to have a child go and become the suicide of commit suicide somewhere. So this is what is a very big issue. The Islamic community, the Muslim community is feeling, in my view, and I won't say I have got an empirical evidence, even I have not got that much amount of evidence, but to whomsoever I spoke within the Muslim community, the Islamic community, they feel very happy this has happened. So I think as a nation, as some sort of people, we must say that there will be, in a country of 1.4 billion people, there will be 140 stupid guys. And if your intelligence agencies, police is arresting them, we must celebrate that rather than question the intelligence about it. And if there is any person who has been wrongly arrested, I have full faith in the judiciary. The tribunal, as you remarked, Meena, is going to be constituted, and it will be under a sitting judge of the Delhi High Court, and he will preside over it and say whether the ban needs to be extended or continued, or whether the ban has to be removed. And likewise, every single person will have a chance to prove his innocence, and I think they will get out of it if they are really innocent.
Yeah. Meera is asking, why was PFI not banned permanently?
Okay. Now, Meera, the law says 5 years is a reasonable one. You can't ban something permanently because the Constitution gives a right to assembly. You can form unions, you can assemble. Constitution gives the complete right. Now, if you ban it permanently, then that portion of it will be struck down as unconstitutional. So you do for 5 years, then review it, and you extend it for next 5 years. So this goes on. So it is not that in one shot I have to say I have to ban. This single bullet thing doesn't work in a and it in fairness. Look at it now. Look at it this way. Say in 2032, God forbid, there is an opposition that comes to power, and it wants to ban somebody like, say, the Bajrang Dal or something. Would you like that the ban should be for eternity, or should you like that the ban should be there for 5 years before that the people should be allowed to prove their innocence? So checks and balance must be there in the system. Nobody is, absolutely right. Nobody should be allowed to go in, especially in a democracy. Nobody should be given that amount of sweeping powers. So in fairness, on balance, 5 years seems to be a very appropriate step as put down in law, and that is why it is kept at 5 years. And you can do it for 3 years, you can do it for 4 years, you can do it up to 5 years, and the government has chosen the maximum period, and they have hit the button for 5 years. I think that's the best way to do it.
Tell me, in UK also, there's a very similar problem that's happening, and Hindus are being attacked in different places. What is this anger all about?
See, this global anger is about, as I always believe, that Hindus have a civilization, And civilization is the front runner for economics and prosperity. If you don't have civilization or culture, you don't prosper, or your prosperity is not one that is sustainable. The world is realizing that the Hindus have a killer app, and the killer app is self-discipline. They have a wonderful way of life. They are very peaceful. You attack them, and they are like pillows. They come back. You go and knock a pillow, box it several times over. You again find the pillow within seconds comes back to its original shape. So the Hindus are civilizationally taken a knock on themselves for the last 1,000 years. The world is stunned, it's stupefied. It doesn't believe that there can be some civilization there where the worst of things have been heaped for not 1 year, 2 years, but 1,000 years. It has gone through the type of annihilation that any other civilization has not undergone. It has attempts at annihilation has been extraordinary, but yet, see, 1,000 years would mean, say, roughly 33 generations. 33 generations of my forefathers have undergone physical torture. And they have survived, and we have survived. And we have survived almost carrying what my great 1,000 years back, the song, the music, the dance, the culture, the civilization, the Upanishad, the Vedas, the Mahabharatas, the Ramayanas, everything is all intact. The Bharatnatyam, the Kuchipudi, the Odissi, you take it, the painting, the temples. Of course, many of them have been hit by vandals, but yet we have survived in substantial measure. So the world is, unable to understand. That's how we have survived. And there is an angst, there is an anger that how is it that these guys are surviving? How is it that these guys have been managing for 33 generations under such tremendous stress, and they have survived? So there is always a rise of India will lead to a rise of Hindus. And rise of Hindus will lead to the rise of India. It's coterminous. But the downside is that India and Hindus will increasingly come under attack. This is going to happen. Now, that is why, say, from now on, you are going to see extraordinary attacks on Indian corporates. You are going to see Indian channels being abused, attacked. Anything that has Indian leaders in any global fora, for instance, say any Sadgurus or any of these spiritual leaders, they will come under attack. People who are extraordinary professionals or lawyers or chartered accountants, doctors, there will be some attack. Indian institutions will come under attack. So it is not that there's going to be a war that's going to happen in some icy peaks of Himalayas by the Chinese or the Pakistanis. There will be several types of wars that will go on and try to put us down civilizationally. So we will have to be very careful. We will have to see. There will be already Bollywood has launched a huge war against us for the last 30 years without our knowing it. They virtually Hinduized us the last 30 years. It was one front happening right in our bedrooms. We didn't know about it. And thanks to some of our people today, we are so conscious and see how the nation is retaliating. One after the other, Bollywood movies are going down the drain.
Yeah,
so this is going to be the next big challenge that we don't know. I predicted in 2013 or 2012 when I was new to Twitter. We had a hashtag boycott Indian media. At that time, it trended continuously for 3 or 4 days. And the mainstream media was taken aback by the virulence. And that's what it is. See, today, you must understand that the nation is not ready to take anything lying down. The people, when I say nation, I mean the people. And there is a reflex action on nationalistic ideas. All of us are now genetically getting modified into being nationalists. We reflexively feel happy and proud about us. And this has happened in the last 10-15 years right under our nose. I don't want to say that it happened because of Modi, or Modi is a byproduct of such a national level aspiration. That's a debate separately that we can have it any other day. But Modi and this rise of Hindu nationalism is going hand in hand. And I can see that going on for some more time. And this means that today you can't have, and I can't think about a Congress party or any party coming and saying we will bring back Article 370. I challenged this on Arnab's show. I said, if you're so worried about 370, make an open declaration that should we come to power, we will bring back Article 370. None of the congressmen are even ready to talk about it. If Congress is so worried about PFI, will they say that if we are elected to power, we will revoke the ban on PFI? Let one political party, let one leader today say this if he has the guts. Of course, OIC can say he's not a mainstream political leader. He is a political leader of Hyderabad. But he can't even say that in Secunderabad. Let me tell you this. He can't even say this in Secunderabad, and I challenge him to say this in Secunderabad. Open meeting. So this mood of the nation has become irrevocably in Hindutva. It is now people become politically conscious. So what was lacking in the Hindu culture traditionally was to diverse politics from your normal day-to-day life. But today, increasingly, the average Hindu is become political, and that is an answer to political Islam.
Yeah.
That is why Islamists fear political Hinduism, political activities by Hindus, political consciousness that is happening. And that, I think, is turning the whole matrix upside down. That's upsetting the secular apple cart completely.
Also, don't forget, MR, that Sushant played a very huge role in this. His very murder was the fact that, people started hating what Bollywood did to him. And this boycott Bollywood movement itself started after his death.
Yes. See, sometimes it is the death of a person that triggers the latent feelings amongst us and becomes blatant. A small event is what triggers. And today you can see that 10 years back, if people would have talked about love jihad, they would have foo-fooed it. They would have said these are things that happen. But today, love jihad, every mother, a Hindu mother, talks about it and consciously tells a daughter that please be taking care of this. Of course, the behavioral patterns are being monitored. People in the surroundings are very conscious about it. And see, this is how we have tuned ourselves politically and become politically conscious. Now, let me tell you, I think I want 60 seconds of uninterrupted time now, Meena. Of course, you don't interrupt, but listen to this very carefully. It was on March 10th when the Yogi government was voted back to power earlier this year. I was in Arnab's show, and I had a Muslim gentleman who came, and somehow or the other he spotted me in the anteroom sitting with other guests who were waiting to be called in. And he said, you have, meaning the BJP has won because of Mayawati, who was controlled by the BJP. Now, I said, sir, you are forgetting a fundamental fact that at least north of India, the country has turned irrevocably Hindutva. And I said, Modi can go and abuse or hit or do anything to any average Indian north of India, yet people will vote the BJP. This is the truth of the matter. Now, you may do whatever calculations you want, but people are not going to see anything positive about the opposition parties. Now, I would go back to 1947 and draw a parallel. Congress was supposed to be the Hindu party, and Muslim League was the party that supported the Muslims in 1947. Now, Congress has become the new Muslim League. Okay. Now, Congress is seen as something who speaks only for the Muslims. It doesn't care about the scheduled caste. It doesn't care about women. It doesn't care about children, employment, generation. It is whole heart, soul is only for karmana, vacha, whatever it takes. It only talks about Muslims and no minorities. So Christians are not minorities, Sikhs are not minorities, Parsis are not minorities, Jains are not minorities, Buddhists are not minorities, There is no linguistic minority in the Congress lexicon. There is only one minority, which is the Muslim community. So you bat only for the Muslim community. You don't care about anything else. So what happens is, why should I, a Hindu, care about the Congress party? And this should be true for the entire length and breadth of the country, there, which includes today, I would tell you with some amount of fairness, includes Muslims also, who do not think that putting their electoral eggs in the Congress, when I say Congress, it includes Mulayam, it includes Lalu, it includes Shiv Sena, it includes DMK, it includes the Communist Party, it includes Mamta. So a good amount of Muslims are thinking that whether we are doing the right strategy by giving them, because the more the Muslim vote gets polarized in one side, the Hindu vote gets polarized. Today, the average Hindu is not ready to be looking at politics as diverse from his life. It is integrally interwoven into his psyche. Today, the average Indian is too interested in national affairs. This was not the case 30 years back. 30 years back, politics was spoken only amongst the men, and that too in the drawing room when they used to meet. But today, politics is every second. When you do a WhatsApp, when you do a Twitter, when you do a Facebook, when you do a Candid Mina, when you watch Candid Mina, when you comment on Candid Mina, there is too much of politics all around. And that makes us conscious to our historical fact. The historical fact is, Hindus were never politically conscious. That was our strength and that was our weakness. Today we are balancing it, rebalancing and rejigging ourselves psychologically and taking active part. And when we say active part, we are now believing that this land is ours. It will be governed by what we think or the majority thinks is good for itself. We think under a democracy we have a right to say what is good for the majority. And we want a political party. That's what I told that Muslim gentleman. That, sir, 10 years down the line, you will have two BJPs only in your electoral machinery. One BJP will say, we will build Ram Mandir. The other BJP will say, we will build Krishna Mandir. So whether you want Ram Mandir or Krishna Mandir can be the choice. There cannot be a third. I said this openly, and I said that the country will vote irrevocably into this type of position because you can't have the third option. The mood of the nation is not ready to accept the third option of your nonsense called secularism, and we had enough of this bunkum, and we need to revert to a completely new position where we will say that what Hindus want will determine the course of the nation. That's all. Period. Now, minorities will stay, whether we will highlight the minorities, whether we'll drive them off. This is all nonsense. We will never do that. Hindus don't have the ability to do, neither the psyche to do, neither is it acceptable to do. It should not be done. But the days of Muslims having veto on political affairs of the country, that Muslims will determine whether Shahbano case is correct or not, even after a Supreme Court judgment, is all over. We will decide what is good for Muslims, whether triple talaq is good for Muslims or not. Next is polygamy. We will say polygamy is good or not. We will decide whether hijab is good or not. That is not for Muslims alone. This is for the nation. We will decide what is correct and what is not correct. And given the fact that the overwhelming majority of the population is not Muslim, we will drive towards a uniform civil code. We will drive towards removing secularism into a functional one, not an ornamental one, into a functional one. I don't want secularism to be there as an ornamental piece in the constitution. It must be there as a functional piece, which means Hajj subsidy has to go. I don't know why Modi government wants to continue on Hajj subsidy. We have to do away with Hajj subsidy. These are things that should happen, and
you should be asking that to Smriti Irani.
We should be happening, yeah, it should be happening, and all these questions must be posed to the ministers in the UP, in NDA government, and we must demand that these things must happen in a jiffy.
Yeah. So Jeevan is asking, why is Kejriwal supporting Waqf Board, and will Waqf Board power be taken away ever?
Now, this is another elephant in the room. Now, I am advising. Usually, you advise a corporate or a client. You never advise a village. And I'm advising a village called Tiruchendurai in near Tiruchi. where 600 acres of land, say around more than 600 acres of land is apparently claimed by the Waqf Board as one that is part of the Waqf, meaning it was given to the Muslim community for charitable purposes. I think this is what is happening. This suddenly has erupted all across. And now we find villages after villages, properties after properties, and so much so, the great charlatan of the 21st century called Arvind Kejriwal has declared India's most prominent real estate, which is the Antila, the owner, the house of Mukesh Ambani, to be a part of Waqf Board. He says unashamedly, he says that we should hand it over to the Waqf Board. Now, the Waqf Board, the Waqf Act, which underwent tectonic changes in 1994 and in 2013, and incidentally in 2013 and 1994, this was, I am not very sure about at least on the 94, but I saw from the parliamentary debates that the then Muslim leader of the BJP, Mr. Naqvi, was actively supporting these amendments. So the problem with us is, of course, including me, we don't read it when it actually is going to hit us. And our opponents are preparing for war. And only when they come to the doorstep with all their army, then we wake up and say, oh, this is happening, that is happening. The nature of our enemy is to attack us, to annihilate us, to kill us, to put us down. And we wait till they come to the next street. Even when they are in the next street, we don't bother. He said, he has not come to my house, no, so we'll wait. But once he enters our house, then we start saying, oh, everybody should do, Modi should do, what is Ajit Doval done, what is this guy done, what is that guy done, what is the courts doing. Now, this Waqf Act is a very serious issue. I had told many of my clients that, look, this is not going to be so easy. It is a long drawn out battle. And I am sure this great charlatan, Arvind Kejriwal, sees electoral benefits in supporting Waqf Board. He must be either getting money or votes. And he thinks that he can draw some electoral mileage about it. Otherwise, this charlatan will not do anything. This anarchist will not do anything. If he does anything, take it from me, if Arvind Kejriwal does anything, it will be either inimical to India, or it must be for his political fortune. So this support to the Waqf Board is not shocking, but it only belies a fundamental fact that there is going to be a huge long drawn out battle, most probably in the courts. And the only way the BJP can address this is probably bring suitable amendments to the Waqf Act. And the tribunal must be challenged at the High Court and High Court on the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court judgment, in one judgment, has said anything can come to us under Article 142, which I agree that it might be, but it may not be possible for everybody to go up to Supreme Court and fight it. Second thing, the Waqf Board, the tribunal must be populated with people who understand various nuances, and this Section 108 of Waqf Board Act, which says that this act overrides every other act, which includes probably Registration Act, Evidence Act, Civil Procedure Code. All those things must give away. Probably we must make it more secularized and we must make it more humane. And this is what I expect the government to do immediately. And if proper amendments are brought in the winter session, I'll be the happiest person. And I think every viewer must write a letter to every single MP or the Minorities Affairs Minister, Law Minister, and tell them that please don't pontificate and don't gasify. Please make necessary changes in the Waqf Act. I think the least you can do is to type one simple mail to either the Minorities Affairs Minister.
Just repeat what you said. Repeat what the content should be.
It should be to say that the Waqf Board must undergo certain changes. Please amend Waqf Act to 1994 to make it more in line with the constitutional requirements. I think this is the barest minimum you can say, and we can ensure that this is being done.
Meera is asking, what are MRV's views on the sham Congress president elections now that they've elected Kharge?
Have they elected Kharge?
I think so, they've congratulated him on Twitter.
No, that congratulation comes from one loyalist of the Congress party, Shilja or somebody. some minion, okay, probably somebody who serves tea or coffee or something in the household, okay. But see that indications are very clear. Indications are that they wanted Gehlot, who was one of the most trusted lieutenants. He was unwilling to give away the post of the Congress chief ministership for the post of the Congress president. Kamal Nath was not interested. Now you have this joker called Shashi Tharoor. For want of a better word, I'm using the word joker because I don't see this guy getting a few votes even within the Congress.
Yeah.
Okay. And this guy is such a political lightweight, nobody is going to accept it. Least of all the Congress party or the Congress High Command. So they are going to go back to Karge or Digvijay Singh or to any of those old timers, Kamal Nath or somebody, and they say, okay, you handle this. But this will again, they will go and say that, look, we are a very democratic party. They will go through the whole hog. They will even go through elections. They will say that Tharoor got 3% votes, so-and-so got 7% votes, and so-and-so got 84% votes. He has been elected. And so that person will be seen as some sort of a huge media publicity will be given. And this is being done to coincide with the Bharat Jodo Yatra of Rahul Gandhi. So these are all orchestrated acts to capture eyeballs. And this is done with a very calculated view to prove to the outside world that Congress is a very democratic party and they have elected, probably Karge will be elected for only one reason, he is a scheduled caste, as I understand, and that would put him on a good stead as compared to somebody else. So that would look, scheduled caste people, we have elected scheduled caste and we are one with them and we want them to be there. So Karge ji may be the person who may be elected. You are probably right. Now the question is, what will it impact on the electoral fortunes? That's a quick question. My answer to that, if Rahul Gandhi becomes the Congress president, BJP is assured of 350 seats. If it is going to be Gehlot, it will be 400 seats. If it is going to be Kamal Nath or Shashi Tharoor, 425, 450 seats. If it is going to be somebody like one another Bhupendra Huda or somebody whose name was also being floated, it may be 500 seats. Now it is Digvijay Singh, it is 543 seats assured for the BJP. So it's only the share of spoils will be there, but the Congress doesn't seem to understand that the majority of the middle class, hardworking Indians, entrepreneurs, professional class, farmers, ladies, and by and large OBCs, upper caste, people who are English educated, people who are not so fluent in English. You can have any type of divisions, except probably a section of the Muslims. None of these people are trying to be identifying themselves with the Congress. Why? Because Congress has never spoken about any of these people.
Yeah.
Congress has never spoken about, say, if you want to speak about women's affairs, you have to talk about triple talaq, which will be ranking high up in the list. So you oppose triple talaq, but you can't say that you want to talk about women's issue. What women's issue? You can talk about nail polishes and lipsticks. That's the women's issue you can talk about. You can't talk about anything serious. If you talk about unemployment, you have to prove that you generated employment in, say, place like Chhattisgarh, place like Punjab where you were in power, place like Madhya Pradesh where you were in power for a very short period of time. When Maharashtra, you come with some plans, you talk to people, you give them an alternative. You daily criticize unemployment without giving an alternative. You have become like my grandfather. My grandfather goes on criticizing everybody without giving a solution to anything. So you are like an old aunt in a house, ranting. Now you take farmers. You opposed 4 progressive bills just because 600 people, 500 people were up in arms against, and you sponsored that to be against the farmer community, when actually those were the most progressive bills that the farmers were demanding. So do you think the farmers are going to come and trust you? And you said you will bring these type of legislations in 2019. Just because it was brought by Narendra Modi, you opposed it, you ensured that the bills are killed, and look at CIA. CAA is another piece of legislation. You should have said you welcome it. Now you say no, 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 no. This is anti-minority. Where is minorities coming to it? This is poor Sikhs are getting butchered in Afghanistan. The Hindus in Bangladesh are getting butchered. We are telling them, please, if you come here, we will give you citizenship. And they are the most, pathetic souls in this whole planet. And we are extending it to Bangladesh, Pakistan, and this Afghanistan. The Congress party should have welcomed it. Now, this is what would have endeared them to the people. Now you say that no, you should do it for Muslims. Which Muslim is coming from Afghanistan into India? There is nothing called Muslims who are coming from Afghanistan. Why the hell should we take these Muslims who are so happy in Afghanistan? Why should we take Muslims from Pakistan? This is what is creating that wedge. And Congress party, I think, is completely lost. You can have Karge, you can have Shashi Tharoor, you can have any Johnny over there. But I don't think so. It is going to improve the fortunes of the Congress because they are wedded to committing suicide. They are like a political equivalent of a jihadi bomber. They want to commit suicide, political harakiri, and they want to continue on their downward spiral. I see at this point in time, my political antenna suggests that if the Congress is able to win 25 seats, all India, it would be a miracle. The net result of this whole tamasha, that the writ of the Congress president does not even extend to 90 MLAs in Rajasthan. That is the truth of the matter.
Chandrika is saying, Minaji, please convey this message to PM Modi to be careful until May 2026. Not to break his protocol, danger can come from his own security cover, young girls of age 8 to 15 years. He does meet all these children, so perhaps that's what she's indicating. And perhaps this is some astrological prediction.
I think you should convey.
Yeah. Can you ask MRV what he thinks of the Bharat Jodo Yatra?
See, the man spends 18 days in Kerala, which gives you 20 seats. And in all probability, this Pinarayi is well beyond his shelf life. And any day he can be arrested under this Customs Act for this gold smuggling, which he was actually helping the PFI. And incidentally, after the PFI ban, the gold smuggling has come down dramatically. So people are now believing that the Congress fortunes may increase in Kerala 10-12 seats. That's all. Probably they say that Rahul Gandhi may also contest from Kanyakumari, where he spent 2 or 3 days. Now, the next step for Congress is to ask Rahul Gandhi to do Bharat Jodo Yatra in Lakshadweep Islands. He can spend 10-12 days. Go to Port Blair and spend 10-12 days on the Andaman Nicobar Islands. But he spends 2 days in UP, which gives you 80 seats. That tells you what is the hope of the Congress from UP. Now, if I were the person who is going to do this Bharat Jodo Yatra, I would be walking right through Andhra Pradesh, where the Congress was in power till 2014. The unified Andhra is where the Congress was one of the strongest. They used to win 40 odd seats both in 2004 and 2009. They are nowhere. TRS has decimated them in Telangana and YSR has decimated them in Andhra. They should be doing, even today, there is 10 to 12% votes of Congress in Tamil Nadu. They must revive it big time. He must do he walked through Kanyakumari and he has left Tamil Nadu. There is no way he is going to re-enter Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu gives you 40 seats. So you see, if 20 seats, you are doing 18 days, you must do 36 days for 40 seats on a proportional basis. Now, Rahul Gandhi seems to have given up on 2024. There seems to be somebody has told him, let us do some walk and tamasha. And he has started this, and he has probably do some more theatrics as we go along. As he enters the Hindi heartland, he will do some theatrics. There will be some tamasha, I expect, but I don't know what it is, but there will be some tamasha to grab headlines. But doesn't mean that this guy is going to shake the electoral fortunes and this is going to weaken the BJP. Because only one simple reason: there is a complete disconnect between the people and the Congress, as I explained in the first half of this presentation.
Yeah. In the TRP scam, ED flags alleged maleficence of Times Now, abnormal increase in viewing data. The ED has filed a charge sheet before a special court in Mumbai in which it confirmed that no evidence was found against Republic Media Network in the fake TRP case. On Wednesday, Judge M.G. Deshpande of the Special Prevention of Money Laundering Act took cognizance of the charge sheet. It is
Mm.
pertinent to note that recently the tainted ex-police commissioner of Mumbai, Paramveer Singh, faced a probe by central agencies in the Antilia bomb scare and Mansukh Hiren murder case, confirmed that the TRP case against Republic Media was a hoax and a part of a planned conspiracy against journalist Arnab Goswami. So this is something that I think Arnab has been shouting off from the roofs because of his, what he has suffered. And what would you say about this? How openly they maligned not only a man, his all his partners, his family, and what a shameful act done by a political party, to take vengeance.
Minaji, this act on Arnab, I think, was a confluence, and last evening it was very nice and gracious on his part to have suspended the debate, and he called only three of us to discuss this matter, and I was one of them.
Who was the other
And I,
person?
huh?
Who
Pardon
was the
me,
other person? Who was the
Sohail
other person?
Seth, Sohail Seth was there, and one more Mr. Karthik was there. So three of us, along with Arnab, discussed this matter at 9 p.m. He was very clear that I must be there, so I did
You've been
suspend.
supporting him all along.
I have been supporting him. I have a lot of differences with him. People don't know this. On air, probably we are very friendly, but off air, we have been very uh, uh, critical of each other, like good friends. And one of the thing I told him was on the Shabarimala issue. I had serious differences, and till he came and said, "Come on, Emma, stop all these things. You come on, make." And I did go back. I said, "No, Arnab, you are doing a great thing, great mistake by saying that the judgment of Supreme Court is correct. You have to respect the sentiments and civilizational perspectives on the Shabarimala." And he has yielded, I must say, to some extent and to good measure. What I like about him is that he has a big vision about India. Nothing is small in his vision. He thinks big. He wants to have Republic as one of the largest network. And I would be happy if one day people in London say, "Look, the Republic has said this, so this must be the truth," rather than quoting from the BBC or from the CNN or from any of this white man's channel. India's growth will happen this way: when hundreds of republics come in, and as we rise, people will be hitting. This is what I also told you, that the more we rise, we will be subjected to warfare. And this will be one another war that will be inflicted on people like Arnab, because they are becoming international. So the best way to thwart competition would be to stymie his growth in India itself. So that is what was happening. And I saw the confluence of big businessmen, corporate media, and of course political parties, which saw in Arnab some sort of a red rag, and they all combined together and became a Molotov cocktail. And Arnab was, they tried to finish with two mercenaries, Vaze and Paramveer. And I did warn Arnab 3 to 4 months prior to his arrest that you will be arrested, Arnab, the way things are. She said, "No, no, you think they will arrest me?" I said, "Look, the way it's imminently possible. Think about it." Now, I think he has undergone through the fire, baptism through fire, and he has come back as a stronger person, a bit mellowed also, if I have to say that. But he has succeeded in proving one thing, that there is hardly anything against him. The people whom he is supposed to have bribed actually claimed that they did not watch Republic at all. So that's a very funny part. You actually, the charge is you bribed people and you fixed or you rigged the TRP rating because the households were supposed to watch and they were supposed to tell you which channel they are watching.
Yeah.
And Arnab tells me, and this is there in the report also yesterday, that was what gave me to a very hearty laugh, that the people who you have bribed and alleged to have bribed are people who say we have not watched Republic. So the case by itself, and there is something called what do you feel in the market, because you are talking to so many people. Nobody talks about, say, a CNN news last night, what happened. But Arnab's show is always full of theatrics, full of commotion, full of fun, and there is also emotion, and there is also good content. So people again and again talk about this. And yesterday, I think, let me tell you, he did talk about SSR. He said he was one of those who took SSR's case and he had to pay a price for that. So the long and short of it is that Arnab has, shall I say, proved, and we all know for a fact that he was clean. We also know from the market gossip and other things that he is number one. Whether he is at number one at 53% viewership or 72% viewership, we wouldn't know. But without the metrics of a number, we definitely knew that he was dominating the English channel, especially 9 to 11. He is the king, even today. No doubts about it. Others are second and a distant second. Probably all the viewership of all the other channels, English channels put together, may not be able to win over Arnab, because I think he's more than 51% viewership. People may even curse him, hate him. People may shout at him, yell at him. People say this guy's way of conduct is not acceptable, but then they watch him. That's the beauty of Arnab's channel, and that's how he has been successful. And I think he has created a USP. Many others are trying to replicate it. Good luck to them. After all, what do they say? They say that best form of flattery is to follow something. That's what they are trying to do. That's what they are doing.
So now Prime Minister Modi will officially launch the 5G in India tomorrow, October 1st, at the 6th edition of the India Mobile Congress in New Delhi, according to a PMO notice at Pragriti Maidan, which will also kickstart the 4-day event. The IMC is returning to an on-ground event after the COVID-19 setback. And this year's theme is New Digital Universe. It will bring together leading thinkers, entrepreneurs, innovators, and government officials to discuss and showcase opportunities emerging from the rapid adoption and spread of digital technology. So these things are also happening on the side, MR.
Yeah, I would only say that this 5G technology is a very big quantum leap that we should have. And it's good measure that the Prime Minister is bringing it up. It is not brought up on October 2nd, but on October 1st. That is a very important one, because Gandhiji and Nehruji has taught us that science and technology is good as long as it is in science books, never to be brought on paper and practicality. So it's good that they have bypassed the great, the temptation must have been there to do it on October 2nd, but he has done it on October 1st. There is a message there. And I hope that our 5G rollout is spectacular, because this is an indigenous technology that is being rolled out. And I hope that the success will be there. And probably we can download a movie in a couple of seconds. We may probably increase our bandwidth, far better clarity. We can have even three-dimensional images. Virtual images can be used. So the technology that will follow this 5G will again spawn a new set of technologies. It's very good augury. I wish all the best to those technocrats who have put their best, and I hope your viewers also join me in congratulating them.
Yeah, thank you, MR. This 1 hour just goes off in such a quick manner that we don't even realize that we've been discussing so many issues. So thank you, MR, for that, and thank you for being very candid as well from our viewers as well as us. And see you again when you are free from your other activities.
Thank you, Meena. It's a pleasure talking to you and to your viewers. It's one channel where you speak your mind without any let of fear. And your viewers are such a wonderful people, and I wish them happy Navratra, and I hope that we traditionally begin by new accounting during Vijayadashami. The traditional accounting is done either in Vijayadashami or in Diwali. And in case these people, those who have started the new accounts, I would wish them all the best for a very prosperous, and let Ma Lakshmi guide all of us. Thank you very much.
And we also had a Bindi World Day. So nice to see you also with the tikka. So very
I
proud of
always,
your.
after my bath, when I come back from office, from office, I have my bath and immediately have this for my puja. Similarly, in the morning, I have it. I don't go out without my tika.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, for being proud of being an Indian, most of all.
Yeah, yeah. Thank
Good
you.
night. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good night.